Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, stay put because I got to give away some tickets and maybe you're interested. Do you like Whiskey Myers? Because that's the tickets I'm going to be giving away in about, 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. Because we're going to do Dead or Alive. Tickets are on sale at livenation.com already, but they're going to be at Dos Equis Pavilion November 2nd. Dos Equis Pavilion, also known as the Smirnoff whatever, and also known as the Coca-Cola Starplex. And then it was some between those two. Like it was Coca-Cola and then Smirnoff Center and then something. And then Dos Equis Pavilion. But I have a little gap there where I didn't go to concerts. And I had like small kids and I have a little, I don't know. Anyway, that's coming up in about 15, 20 minutes, Dead or Alive. But today, time for your word of the day. I should have some like music for this. You want to do like word of the day music? We could just, there you go. That's your word of the day. Brought to you by Libs of TikTok. Do you know what Libs of TikTok is? It's a social media platform. They're on X and Instagram and TikTok too, of course. And they take videos of some of the crazy things that people are just voluntarily putting out into the universe, and they pass them along. It's been very effective in showing you exactly what these people think in their own words. I don't know why they're so mad at Libs of TikTok for just amplifying their message. You think they would be happy that millions of people are getting the message where previously they didn't, but it doesn't help the cause. It doesn't help the cause because there's another half of that side of the aisle that's pretending like these people don't exist. There are not LGBTQ activists that are trying to indoctrinate elementary school kids. They will say that on one day, and then the next day you'll go to your Twitter feed and you'll see Libs of TikTok's posted 10 of them. But they've also, look, they help you keep up with the times. Today, we're going to learn a new word from our friends over at Libs at TikTok. They've taught us so much already. This is where we learned about Therians. Remember the Therian setup? We talked to a Therian last week. That's kind of the proper word for what used to be known as furries, but people who think that they're animals or werewolves or bearded vultures, or the kid last week, Vinny, was a cat, which I'm very much a cat person. But for this one, Genderseason. Your word of the day is Genderseason.
Did you know, however, there is a gender identity that is linked to the seasons? This is called Genderseason. And this is a gender identity I've only just learnt about. It's a micro-identity. It's not an identity that I have ever heard discussed before. It's a new one for me. Genderseason is an individual who explores their gender identity in relation to a season or all the seasons. So this might be somebody whose gender expression and identity is linked to one season. So for example, winter. Or this might be somebody whose gender identity and expression changes depending on the season.
All right, so there's your word of the day, Genderseason. Could mean two things. You identify part of your gender expression or your gender experience is that of a season. I'm feeling very summery today. I'm feeling very autumnal. Vernal would be, I guess, the Latin on that. And then also your identity could change with the seasons. I try and be open-minded. I try and digest all that. And I can understand how your mood can change with the seasons, how your outlook, how even your personality can change with the seasons. So I'm not nearly as dismissive of this, surprisingly, as I am about like the people who think that they're a half tortoise or something. Because I change very much with the seasons. I'm not a different person, a different personality. You can still call me James, and I'm not going to use a litter box. But, you know, Libs of TikTok is just passing along someone who, this person sounds nice and cheerful, sounds kind of upbeat, almost makes it sound fun. But Genderseason, that's a new word for you, isn't it? Genderseason. See, you don't even want to listen to this show. You just kind of have to, so you know what the heck's going on, so someone doesn't slap you upside the head coming out of left field with these weird terms. Yes, I'm a Genderseason stereotype, and you would know what that means if you listen to the James Show. So you're welcome, by the way. I do feel the seasonal change like right now though. My seasonal experience, I don't want to say gender experience because I always feel like a dude. I never want to cut that off or change it, or I don't know, wear like a lacy bonnet around my head and skip around. But I am going through one of the changes right now. I get 2 weeks of allergies in the spring. I get 2 weeks of allergies in the fall. Usually it's like March and September. And then after that, James, am in summer mode. I wear shorts. I wear t-shirts. I wear flip-flops. I'm laid back. I want to be outside. Winter James is different. Winter James likes to wear pants, likes to wear coats. I don't like cold weather, so I don't go outside a whole lot in the winter. I like to be inside, maybe playing a game of pool. But these people just take it too far. These people, like one of the main questions I had, and you can go watch the segment when I talked to the furry that called in on the show on Friday. And thank you very much, Vinny, for calling in. That was probably the best part of the entire week's worth of shows was his call. One of the responses I got, and I only got to ask him once, but I think I was asked 6 times, does he have a job? Vinny didn't have a job. I don't know if this lady has a job, but I don't think so. It almost feels like this is substituting for the same place. Like if you have these aspirations a generation ago, there was no avenue to pursue them by thinking, oh, I might be a cat, or I might be a cockatoo, or I don't know, I might be a season. I might be winter. I might be a snowflake, maybe. See what I did there? I don't know what's going on, but I have a feeling that these kids need something to occupy their time. One of the reasons, like, I saw an interview with Dave Navarro, the guitarist who's with Jane's Addiction and the Chili Peppers and Jane's Addiction, one of the most amazing guitarists of all time. He talks about when he was a kid, the way he got so good at guitar at such a young age was he had all the time in the world. He could sit at home with his guitar. He didn't have a car, didn't have a job. The only thing he had to do was go to school and come home and play guitar. He said he seriously used to play guitar for, I don't know, maybe 4 hours a day in his teens. And so by the time he got coughed out of high school into the real world, he was shredding, absolutely just killing it up and down the fretboard. But that wasn't just like a hobby to him. It was a passion. It was something he pursued, but it also was something that gave him meaning. Instead of him just being Dave from the boring old suburb who lives in a normal house like everybody else, Dave was a kick-butt guitarist. He wasn't Dave, the boring guy from math class, Algebra 2. He was Dave, the guitarist, the guy that shreds. He's in the rock band. That was his identity. And you see that. It used to be like the stereotypes in school. You know, there was the Motorheads. Or I could do the list from Ferris Bueller's, the geeks, the dweebs, Motorheads, the sportos, the bloods. Whatever that list was. But everyone kind of had a thing back then. You could be a soccer player. You could be a theater kid. You could be one of the mathlete nerds. You could be a band nerd. You could be a basketball player. You could be a cheerleader. You could be the next best thing on the rung down. Or you could be in the drill team, or you could be in the hierarchy below that. You could be on the pep squad. See, this is what I feel like. I don't know, because I don't know enough of these people. I mean, I just met Vinny last Friday. I had a really close friend who was a closet trans for his whole life until he passed away a couple years ago. And I'm dying for more one-on-one experience with some of these people because I have questions. And I don't think the people on TV are ever going to tell you the truth because they're so politically biased. Think of how much other stuff they lie about, whether it's the bloodbath comment or Jussie Smollett or whatever. But you get these people out on an individual basis and you start having human one-on-one interactions with them and conversations with them. And I think that's where your understanding is going to come from. But Genderseason, that's probably the ones I can understand the most. You know, I understand. You're happier during the summer. You're probably seasonally depressed during the winter. You're optimistic during the springtime, and I don't know, fall. You're all whipped up into football frenzy for me. I don't know, but hey, at least you're not using a litter box. We're gonna play Dead or Alive coming up next, and Dead or Alive is going to be for Whiskey Myers tickets November 2nd. So stick around. That's next on the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.